Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Microgenres, where I try and take a small group of films that are all tied together thematically or grouped together for some sort of reason. I try not to make it kind of what this is going to be, this episode, which is somebody's filmography. And this isn't specifically their entire filmography, it is a microgenre within their filmography, but you'll see as we go along. And this is going to be a little bit different in this episode, because normally if you watch this channel, you know that I like to script things. I like to go off of, for the most part, I like to go off of a blueprint. I don't want to forget any of the details. I don't want to ramble to you and waste your time. But this is a little different. There is a reason why we're just going to freestyle this one, and I'll try and do some cuts and edits to make it not so rambly. But today, we are going to talk about Rollerblade films. Okay, and, well, you'll see as we go along, but there's a little bit more to it than that. So, how did I find this microgenre, discover these movies? I've got a hard drive, where I've got a bunch of downloaded films, really obscure stuff, a bunch of things that had never really been released onto physical media, and it's just like maybe 50 or so films in this folder, and I'm trying to get to them at some point, you know, when I'm not writing and researching things for this channel. And the next movie that happened of like maybe a week ago that happened to be in this file was Rollerblade Warriors Taken by Force. And it was just on the way that I've got my office set up here is the movies are on all these walls, but at my desk I've got a computer monitor here and I've got a TV monitor here so I can be playing stuff while I'm editing. And I just kept on looking over at this movie that was completely ridiculous with samurai swords, it's post-apocalyptic, everybody's on roller skates, lots of scantily clad post-apocalyptic ladies that are in there, bunch of mutants, just weird stuff. And I was like, what is this? What is this movie? So I find out that it's Rollerblade Warriors Taken by Force. It came out in 1989. And I think, man, rollerblade movies, like this feels like it's a thing. Like maybe I could do a video on rollerblade movies. And so I look the movie up on IMDb, and if you scroll down IMDb, at some point they come up with this little section where it's like sort of connected tangentially other recommendations. And there was this other movie that was a rollerblade movie, and there was another rollerblade movie, and there was another rollerblade movie, and they all seemed really similar. Like I was sort of expecting to find rollerblade movies that are like in the 80s about rollerbladers, like actual just, you know, like breakin', right? Where it was like about the subculture of breakdancing. Maybe these rollerblade movies, some of them would be about the subculture of rollerblading. That was not the case at all. Instead, what I found was a connective tissue between seven movies, all made by the same guy. And we got his name is, I got a few notes here because I really don't want to screw this up. I'm not an expert on this in the slightest. Donald G. Jackson makes these movies. Now, Donald G. Jackson has an interesting career and filmography and life and honestly philosophy that is now tying into what you're watching right now. And we'll get to that. But Donald G. Jackson makes a movie in the 70s called Demon Lover, 1976, and another one called I Like to Hurt People in 1985. And these movies are made outside the studio system. These are independent movies that he's making with friends. He eventually does get a studio picture based off of the first movie that we're going to talk about here, which is Rollerblade in 1986. Now, Rollerblade is a they're all post-apocalyptic movies in the Wasteland, but this is one of those like a Robert Rodriguez-esque El Mariachi type effort, where it's like, let me just get my friends involved. Does somebody have a lizard that we can put in the background of the shot? I'm making up the lizard part for this movie, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the El Mariachi film school for Rodriguez was like, if my friend has a turtle, let's put the turtle in. If he has we have access to a school bus, let's find a way to put the school bus in. And that's how they did that. Donald G. Jackson really puts his imprint. This is his movie. You can feel it once you get to know like what his stuff is. But this particular movie also has so much ambition to it. There's a Muppet as the villain, like a hand Muppet that's like, I'm gonna get you, which is completely ridiculous.
Nobody will get caught.
The dialogue is atrocious, right? It's all these and thys. Thy rollerblade shall go swiftly across the, like that kind of thing, but really done quite awfully.
Hey, Chris. Don't cry. Tears will cause thy wheels to rust. Remember what I told thee about balance. There is no up or down, only thyself. Centered. Squared. A perfect point in the universe. There is no imbalance unless thou think there is. Now skate, boy, skate.
All of these movies are terrible. They're all terrible. I'll tell you which one to watch if you're interested, if you are a masochist of some kind and you really, really want to explore these movies. Everybody's on roller skates, not rollerblades. This is 1986. It's a little early, but to be fair, I don't think anybody really gets rollerblades in any of these movies ever. Okay, this is a rollerblade universe. Another interesting aspect is there's this religious theme going through all of it. Mother Speed is sort of, it's obviously not Catholic because it's post-apocalyptic, but it's this new future religion, and a lot of times we're seeing women wearing, it's mostly women that are these priestesses, wearing these sort of like clan hoods with the, it's not a fleur-de-lis, it's that little cross, that like iron cross sort of like on there, which looks a little disturbing. It looks a little Kanye West Black Klansman-ish, but I don't think that that's the intention that you're getting across in any of these movies.
The cosmic order of Rollerblade is the only force on Earth where all weapons and battle techniques are converted into tools of love.
So he makes Rollerblade in 1986, and he's able to parlay this into a studio movie, which is Rollerblade Warriors in 1989, taken by force, which I mentioned that started me off here. Now, that's the movie you want to watch. If you're going to watch one of these movies, you have to watch Rollerblade Warriors 1989, taken by force. You'll understand why you don't want to watch the other ones. If you were going to watch any of the other ones, I would maybe say Rollerblade in 1986. There's a freshness and an intention with this artist trying to make these movies, whatever his struggles are creatively to bring that to the screen. These two are the most, am I going to say cohesive? I don't even know if they're cohesive, if they make any sense at all, but these are sort of the high water mark. At least with Rollerblade Warriors in 89, you've got a studio budget, and that does make a difference. Kathleen Kinmont is in Rollerblade Warriors, and it's just definitely the most entertaining out of all of his movies, and his career trajectory is going to go on this weird trip, which again is the reason why I'm not writing a script for this and I'm kind of doing a rambling sort of deal. But again, you'll understand why when we get to that part of his career.
Rollerblade Warriors are commanded to rendezvous with their holy sister, Karen Cross. They skate the path of righteousness, making it hard for evildoers to have a nice day.
His first studio movie is not Rollerblade Warriors in 89. It's actually probably his best known movie for people that are into crappy B movies, which is Hell Comes to Frogtown in 1988. So Hell Comes to Frogtown in 1988 with Rowdy Roddy Piper, the wrestler. This is before he makes They Live. So this is like the training ground for whether this wrestler can be an actor. I think it's a really interesting and cheesy, it's like Road Warrior meets Escape from New York, but also kind of a weird B-movie softcore parody. I don't even know if it's that softcore, honestly, but Rowdy Roddy Piper sort of plays a Snake Plissken that's going out into the wastelands with a mission to impregnate a bunch of women because they need to repopulate the human race. Sandal Bergman, who is also in it, who made a career in softcore movies in the 90s, but also played in Conan the Barbarian, and has been in a number of other things. She's quite a good actress. So that studio movie was the beginning of his trouble. There's a lot of struggle on set, power dynamics, creative visions, and Donald G. Jackson is a bit of a crazy dude. He has a lot of trouble in this movie and his last studio movie, which is Rollerblade Warriors, Taken by Force in 1989. And he has trouble with people, like, he's belligerent with actors, criticizing them for not giving good performances or good line readings. He gets frustrated at all of the... I mean, filmmaking is a time-consuming and tedious art, right? If you're on set and you're trying to get these shots, it's a lot of resets, it's a lot of waiting around, it's a lot of waiting for special effects to be ready, it's a lot of, you know, that didn't work, now we're going to need 20 minutes to set it up and try and do it again. And I don't think that Donald G. Jackson's personality was really suited to that environment, but he loved films more than anything. As critical as I am going to be about all of these movies, and I will be, this guy really loved films and he really poured himself into it. So he makes Hell Comes to Frogtown in 88, he makes Rollerblade Warriors in 89, and that's kind of the end of the studio experience for him. That people don't want to work with him anymore. They kind of realize this guy's a bit of a nut, and even though the movies that come out are weird and wild and interesting, I don't know that they're hugely financially successful. And please keep in mind, when I did my series 8 parts on the Mummy, I said, you know, there's so many Mummy movies forever, but I have to draw the line someplace, and I forget what it was, if I did like 50 or 60 Mummy movies, but I was like, I'm just gonna draw the line at anything that's a 3 or under on IMDb for a rating. Like, below that, let's just not bother. And I generally, as a personal rule, I can't stomach and watch movies that are below a 3. Usually it means they're shot on video and have incredibly poor script writing and production values, and you know, you're getting into really, really murky, mucky territory. That's where we're going here. So after the studio system, this guy is not to be deterred, and he sets out to make... And he makes a lot of movies. We're not going to talk about all of his movies here because it's really long. This is a micro-genre. I did mention Hell Comes to Frogtown. He does sequels to those as well. We're not going to be talking about that. We're only talking about the Road Warrior movies. The Rollerblade movies, my bad. But all of these movies, post-studio, are all awful. Like, they're really, if you are into movies, cinema and film, you're not going to be... I mean... Even people that love bad movies, this is a challenge then, if you want. If you really like bad movies, like the worst of the worst movies that you can't follow, movies that after 10 minutes you're like, oh, is this not going to get any better? This is the territory we're in.
He would teach her well.
He makes other movies in and out of all these Rollerblade movies and post these Rollerblade movies, and but we're only going to stick to these 7. So we got Rollerblade in 86, we got Rollerblade Warriors in 89, his last studio movie. Then we go to the Rollerblade 7 in 91. Okay, the Rollerblade 7 is his first movie outside the studio system, and this is just like, let's just get some equipment and shoot on the weekend with some friends. It's kind of shocking. He goes to all the same locations that he liked, these aqueducts in LA, there's a industrial factory that's shut down that they filmed Terminator 2 at. He loves going there, so he keeps going back there. If you watch all of his movies, you're going to see a whole bunch of similar shots and set pieces, rather. And he starts to build also a little bit of a repertoire company. He gets a few actors like Joe Estevez, Frank Stallone, and Karen Black is in a couple of these movies. Now, I don't know how much they're in these movies, plural, and that it's a repertoire company as much as it is he got them for this Rollerblade 7 movie in 91, based on the fact that he had just made 2 studio movies on his own. Like, the momentum was carrying him forward a little bit, and his reputation hadn't preceded him at that point in time. So he makes the Rollerblade 7, and he's making it, I believe, back to back with another sequel he wants to do called Return of the Rollerblade 7, which gets released in 93. But this is where this whole filmography gets a little twisted. So they have is it a co-producer or a distributor of some kind, and she gets the footage from the first movie and the second movie and is realizing this is awful and it's not going to work. And so she takes the footage, breaking their contract, and edits that footage into a new movie called The Legends of the Rollerblade 7. And I actually think that Legend... Oh, no, Legends was also crap. Sorry, it's hard to tell here, but this is basically edited together from this first movie and that sequel movie, and puts together whatever this other music video montage type... Like, that's what all of these movies are like. They have no discernible plot. We won't be talking about plots because there's nothing to really go on. And increasingly as we go forward, these movies become more improvisational because, as I said before, he does not have the patience to try and nail these lines of dialogue. He does not have the temperament that works well with actors to get a performance. And so we have Rollerblade 7, Return of the Rollerblade 7 in 93, both of which are under an hour and a half. Then this producer, executive person edits together these movies into Legends of the Rollerblade 7, which comes out in 92. And then we enter one other part, which is a big piece of this guy's legacy, is he hooks up with an actor, musician, producer guy named Scott Shaw. Scott Shaw plays a character named Hawk in the Rollerblade 7. And from this point on, he becomes a partner of Donald Jackson. He takes the footage and he re-edits it, and he makes a movie called Hawk, Warrior of the Wheel Zone. I've been told that Hawk, Warrior of the Wheel Zone is maybe the best story-wise to understand what we're seeing in these movies.
We shall see about that, won't we?
So as you can see, we've got 4 movies here that are all the same movie. So Rollerblade 7 comes out. They film Return of the Rollerblade 7, which has footage from Rollerblade 7 in it. And actually, I kind of enjoyed that one as far as any of these can be enjoyed. There's a monologue that goes over top of it that's constantly explaining to you what you're seeing and how it fits together. And it still doesn't make really any sense, but it's almost like you're watching an hour and a half trailer, like, Hawk travels across the desert looking to destroy evil, like that kind of thing, but like constantly throughout the whole thing trying to explain. So you've got Rollerblade 7, Return of the Rollerblade 7 filmed at the same time. You've got the Legends of the Rollerblade 7, which is the producers or distributors' illegal cut of it, and then you've got Scott Shaw's Hawk, Warrior of the Wheel Zone, which I don't think even comes out until like 2012, but he makes that version of it as well. Scott Shaw is an interesting character. He is there at the time that the studio falls apart and these movies all become independent. He and Donald Jackson come together and create something that they call Zen filmmaking. And that is the reason why I'm not writing a script here, because it felt the spirit of Donald Jackson and these movies is improvisational by nature. And so I want to embrace that and ensconce myself in that as well. So I wrote a few notes, and that's why this is the way it is. Whatever happens is going to happen, and we're going to make the best of it. Zen filmmaking is basically the idea that if you have a plan, it's not going to work out on an independent movie, and every time you need something to very specifically turn out the way you want it to according to that plan, it's going to cost more money, and it's going to take more time, and it's going to require more patience, and Donald Jackson has none of that. And so these movies begin in his filmography to degrade down into really just montage of scantily clad women on roller skates, skating through concrete aqueducts and in industrial areas, carrying samurai swords, wearing weird priest outfits. The scenes devolve into ad-libs in front of or in a teepee. There's lots of tents because that creates your physical in like a set for very little money. And also smiley faces, you know, the yellow smiley face, don't worry, be happy smiley face, or have a nice day, whichever the slogan is for that, the one that they put in Forrest Gump. That is also everywhere, as if it's an ancient symbol that means something, you know, I don't know, but he uses that over and over again quite a few times. After that, he goes on, or I guess at this point I should also mention, somewhere around this time, Donald Jackson gets a diagnosis that he is going to die of cancer in the next 6 months to a year, whatever that is. And he defies those odds, and he goes on to live until 2003 when cancer finally takes him. But during the time that he's making these Zen films and putting them together with Scott Shaw, the way that he continues making these films becomes more slapdash. I mean, that sounds crazy because everything's improvisational, but I mean, even the filmmaking, he's not making a movie within 4 or 5 weeks of filming and then editing it and then making another movie. He's now going out on weekends with friends to locations, and whoever's available is the film that he's working on for a few days. And so over the course of years, he's making dozens of movies, but he's also not making them in a linear fashion from film to film. He's overlapping all these productions and just getting a few bits of footage where he can. That kind of adds to the cacophony and crazy chaos of these movies that don't make any sense.
Lo, the time has come, disciples of the light, to recount the saga of heroes and villains, warriors and passives, seers of darkness and light.
For this episode, I watched all 7 of the Rollerblade movies. We haven't even got to the last one yet. And I watched Hell Comes to Frogtown and a few of his other movies like Guns of El Chupacabra. Interestingly, that movie I believe is 98, and I did an episode of Microgenres on Andy Sedaris movies, and I know who Julie Strain is, and I love these B movies and that sort of corner of the cinematic universe, if you will. Watching Guns of El Chupacabra, I was like, oh cool, Julie Strain's in this. Oh cool, Kevin Eastman, creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is also in this. And these are really like embarrassingly low budget films. Like I really don't know how that affects my opinion of Mr. Kevin Eastman, but I would have thought that in 1998 he would have been rolling around in so much money that they would have been able to finance or afford slightly better production for this movie. But this movie is no better than the rest of his Zen films, and I had to witness a Julie Strain and Kevin Eastman love scene. Didn't ever want to see it. Didn't ever want to see Kevin Eastman and his wife Julie Strain, specifically Kevin Eastman. I got no problem seeing Julie Strain naked, but Kevin Eastman in a love scene was just weird. It was just weird.
Queen bee.
The last movie that I think, I know is posthumously released, and this is part of the weirdness of Donald Jackson's filmography, is basically that he dies in 2003, but because he made so many movies by just scrounging for a few minutes of film and a few minutes of film and then sort of just pushing them around to where he thinks those productions would go, we end up with a lot of posthumous releases, like Angel Blade, which is the last movie. It's sort of a blaxploitation rollerblade movie, definitely the lowest on the rungs of quality for all of these movies that he made, and really feels like almost found footage. And I don't know, if you can make it through all 7 and you get to that movie, like it's like the bomb and Hot Ones, you know, like it's something that you could really like, I don't know if you could be proud of it. It's awful.
How am I going to take Toledo's place? I'm not from their land, and I don't have any powers.
You have powers you don't know about yet. I will help you bring them out.
You know what? I just rather not, okay? I just assume go home, because I'm not wanting to fight any pharaohs.
You go home, you will be enslaved by the pharaoh, and you'll do what he wants. You will be his toy.
Scott Shaw runs a website where you can buy a lot of these things on DVD, and where he's still continuing to take footage from various productions and package it. I think that's how Angel Blade was made. I've heard that he will take productions that he wasn't necessarily a part of or not necessarily a producer of, but now that he's releasing it and considers himself producer, a lot of these movies start with this black screen with the text on it where Scott Shaw takes some credit. In a lot of ways, I think maybe, you know, he's entitled to do this. He's kept Donald Jackson's filmography and his legacy alive for a really, really long time. He has released other Rollerblade movies that I didn't have a chance to see that I'm not including here because, as you'll hear in a second, they do not sound like they are legitimate movies. He released a documentary called Rollerblade 3, the movie that never was, in 2015, which I think is taking, from what I can understand, it takes footage from those productions and talks about what the original vision was supposed to be and tries to put something together there. There's also Rollerblade 7, The Unseen Scenes, which was in 2012. So if you could believe that a movie that filmed in 91 and then spawned Return of the Rollerblade 7, The Legends of the Rollerblade 7, and Hawk Warrior of the Wheel Zone, all remixes, would actually have even more unseen scenes seems so unlikely, and given that these movies are all 2 out of 10s, I don't know I don't know what that would be, a -3 or something to bother seeing. I didn't get a chance to see it, but there you go, right? Rollerblade movies in the Wasteland, Rollerblades, Rollerblade Warriors, Legends of Rollerblade Warriors, Angel Blades of Rollerblade Warriors, that are all on roller skates. Anyway, salute to Donald Jackson. This is something of a legacy. I think it's really commendable, or a testament to how much he clearly loved making movies, that I don't even know what it would be. He didn't seem to enjoy the process of making films. He didn't seem to enjoy actors. He didn't want to take time for his craft, but I guess maybe just the rush of the camera, filming stuff, being on set with half-naked women with samurai swords has got to have some kind of appeal to it, maybe. And there you go. 7 movies, 7 Rollerblade movies, 7 Legends of the Returns of the Rollerblade movies by Donald Jackson. I'll see you guys next week with something written, with a script of some kind. Okay? Have a good one.